everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk Chicago. Great to see all of you here with us across our great radio and TV affiliates across Illinois and Indiana. WJOB, AM 1230, JED TV, Cities 92.9, Talk FM, WKN 105.5, The Ticket. It's great to be here with you. This is Jon Zaghloul. John Meadows is directing and producing. You can follow us all over at Sports Talk Chicago and subscribe on YouTube. Hit the like button there at Sports Talk Chicago as well. We're starting off the show with a huge guest. Great friend of this program. So happy that he made some time here for us tonight. He's a senior NFL writer at OutKick, a Pro Football Hall of Fame voter, and the host of The 5 Spot with Donovan McNabb. Please welcome Armando Salguero to the program. Armando, it's great to see you back here, man. How are you?
Wow, John. So I thought you were making commentary about my weight immediately, and I am suddenly feeling better about it now that I know that that wasn't the case.
No, definitely not that. I appreciate you being here.
Huge guest.
Yeah, huge guest in a good way, like a great dignitary or a good friend of this program.
I got it.
Nothing in regards to that. It's good to see you, man. I want to start with a couple of Bears stuff first. What have you made of their season so far? You've done some reporting on it, the national level. What have you made of how they performed?
Terrible to start, better to end. It's as simple as that. And, you know, obviously, after Sunday, they're going to have a lot of evaluations to do about the most important people in the franchise. See, the three most important people of the four at any franchise is the owner, the coach, the general manager, and the quarterback. We know that the owner is not going to replace herself, so she's good. Right? But there has to be an evaluation about Justin Fields. There has to be an evaluation about Eberflus, and there has to be an evaluation on polls. It has to happen. They evaluate people every week. Well, Justin doesn't, but they evaluate people every week. Now they have to submit to the evaluation, and obviously, like we mentioned, you know, it looks better of late, but is of late good enough to erase what happened early on? And in the case of Justin Fields, is it good enough to erase what might happen in April come the draft?
Do you think, based on raw performance, that Fields has done enough to prove that he's the guy here in Chicago?
Well, again, it's not just based on raw performance, because based on raw performance and you have the number, 34 pick in the draft, yeah, he's done enough. But based on raw performance and you have the number 1 pick in the draft and you have the number 8 pick in the draft right now, maybe 9 or 10 when all is said and done, maybe not. And it's as simple as, can you do better? Can you upgrade? I know that fans get sort of attached to players and attached to the potential of players. And I know when Justin Fields was drafted, Chicago thought, this is our guy. We're gonna ride or die with Justin Fields. Well, it's not like that right now for the organization, because you're going to ride or die with Justin Fields or the evaluation of Caleb Williams, Drake May, Michael Penix Jr., Jalen Daniels. Those are the things that the organization is going to ride or die with.
Very aptly put. You also wrote a couple of weeks ago, which I found interesting, that a strong finish would, quote, save Matt Eberflus for the Bears. Do you think he's had a strong finish?
We don't know yet. Is he winning on Sunday?
For now, yes, but is he going to win against the Packers? Yes, that's the big question. I mean, do you think he's done enough to kind of stick around? I mean, as you said, there's been improvement, but, looking at the whole body of work over the past 2 years, there have been a lot of ups and downs, mainly downs for him.
Right. And, there are the issues with the coaching staff and what happened on defense there. I mean, what was that about? Uh,
Yep.
right. And but but stepping back from that, okay, the what have you done for me lately? So they've got 4 wins in the last 5 games. If you finish with 5 wins in the last 6 games, if you're at what 8 and 9 to finish the season, you know, I can see the Hallis McCaskey, family going, we're not going to make a change for the sake of making a change. They didn't get to where they are, and especially Virginia McCaskey didn't become who she is in the realm of ownership and as respected as she is by making harsh and rash decisions and by doing those based on emotion. So she is going to probably take a step back. I doubt it's going to be the day after, one way or the other, like normally happens. And she's going to figure out, is this the person that can carry this team to the next level? We are at a certain level now. And to be honest with you and all of Chicago and all Bears fans, it's mediocre at best, right? That's what it is. But when Eberflus took over, it was worse than mediocre. And it was worse than mediocre last year. And it was worse than mediocre in September. Now they've rallied to mediocre. Can they take the next step?
Armando, that's such a Bears thing and a Chicago thing to say. They have rallied to mediocre. Can they take the next step? I love it. This is Sports Talk Chicago. Armando Salguero is our guest, senior NFL writer for OutKick and Fox News. Armando, you're also a Pro Football Hall of Fame voter. And a lot of people here in Chicago, including myself, I'll admit my bias, believe that Devin Hester should be in the Hall of Fame. He's a finalist again this year. What do you make of his candidacy as the voting comes up? Well,
I mean, don't apologize for your bias. We all have biases. I'm a University of Miami alum. Where did Devin Hester go to school? Oh, yeah, University of Miami. So, I mean, there's a built-in bias there. And look, I know that he is a unique player, not just a unique player in this class, which he is, the 15 finalists that we're going to be considering here in a few weeks. But he is a unique player over his career because he was doing stuff that just no one else was doing during his tenure. And that carries weight in the room amongst the voters. I would say to you, what also carries weight is that it was a limited amount of participation. When you think about a defensive player playing 1,000 plays a season, or a offensive player, playing 1,000 plays a season, a receiver catching 90 passes, it's a lot different than a returner, returning, 25 kickoffs or 30 kickoffs and 25 or 30 punts. It's just different. And so that's the thing that has, I think, worked against them in the past, and he's got to overcome. That's a really good point, and I hear what you're saying. Is there the counter argument, though, that he was so good at this special part of the game, he was the best to ever do what he did, that could potentially outweigh the fact that he was limited overall as a player? Right. He was limited in his participation, and in that they tried to make him a receiver, and that met with I guess mixed results. Right. Yeah, that's been the argument. That's been the counter. Somebody, people smarter than us have thought about that before, I think, and have, articulated that to the voters. And it's a fair argument. the problem is it's that argument, and then on top of that, you have to make the uphill climb of, okay, so if we're putting Devin Hester in, who are we not putting in? Because, I mean, we're leaving Torrey Holt out again. We're leaving, Reggie Wayne out again. We're not going with Fred Taylor, who gained over 10,000 yards in the NFL. So it's not just in a vacuum. It's a decision that's also made with a limitation on the number of people that you can vote for. And how you weigh, your second, third, fourth vote, it matters how much that person or how strong that person's case is and how few counter arguments against that person there are.
Let me ask you this. You mentioned a couple of ballots, your first, third, fourth vote. How's the process work in terms of Hall of Fame voting, if you don't mind me asking, or I don't know if that's too much. But.
No, not at all. So we have our first vote sometime in September or October. I don't remember which one it is. And we cut down from I think there was over close to 200 candidates.
Wow.
This last year. And that got cut down to 25. And then we cut down again to 15. And from that 15, a class can have no more than 7, entrants, enshrinees, as they call them in Canton. And so that's how it works. We whittle it down, and it gets harder as we go, obviously.
Armando Salguero still here with us on Sports Talk Chicago. A few more minutes here with Armando. Great to have him here with us. Wanted to talk about the 5-spot new show with you and Donovan McNabb on OutKick. I think it's been a great success, certainly amazing content. How did that all start up?
Yeah, no, Donovan, he's a great guy. I got to tell you. I've covered the NFL since 1990, and I've dealt with some wonderful people, and I've dealt with some not wonderful people during that time as well. And I would say to you that Donovan McNabb was one of the not wonderful. No, I'm not gonna. He's one of the good guys. Easy to get along with. Knows his stuff. Obviously, I learn something about football every time he talks to me about football. And so he's got the quarterback's perspective on things. He sees things, even watching on television, that, frankly, I don't see. And he knows what the coverages were. He knows where the progression should go. He knows this stuff, and he's just great at it.
What do you think's been the best part of the show since it launched? I know it's kind of new, but what stood out to you?
Yeah, so we've had guests on, and so Nick Sirianni, when the whole tush push, controversy about banning or not banning was hot. It's not going to get banned, by the way, or at least that's the sentiment around the league, that it's not going to get banned. But when there was a possibility that it could be, Sirianni was very, very, I wouldn't say defensive, but very possessive of the tush push. And he talked to us about loving the fact that other teams fail at it. Loving the fact that only the Philadelphia Eagles start every possession first and 8, basically, instead of first and 10. And that all the other teams that have tried to copy it have mostly failed.
And Armando, last question before we finish up. What's your faith mean to you?
Oh, wow. Thanks for that question. It means everything. I'm a born-again Christian. Jesus Christ is my savior. It wasn't always that way. I lived in the world and was a mess for a long time. And it's much better to not be a mess and be, have someone that you can have a relationship with and has your back. And I know that folks out there will say, yeah, but he's not really there. He's not. No, he is tangible to me every single moment of my life. And stuff has happened to me that just doesn't ordinarily happen to people. And you don't have enough time on this show for me to give you the examples, but multiple times my life has been spared. And, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't, saved. Simple as that.
Next time we have you on, we're going to get to more of that. I do want to hear some more examples. But Armando, thank you so much for joining me. It is always a pleasure. I'm looking forward to the next time we chat. And best wishes here as the NFL season comes to a conclusion. But you won't get a break. All this stuff's going to continue to move on and move forward. So we appreciate you, Armando.
It's always my pleasure, John.